Now that we've deployed the function, let's actually have a look at the code and see what it's doing behind the scenes. I'm going to just go to my Finder window. I'm going to look for the index.js file in the video transcoder directory, and I'm going to open it with my code editor, which I'm using Visual Studio Code. Now first off, we can see a few things. First of all, we're actually requiring the AWS SDK, which is the software development kit that AWS provides, allowing you to call their services. Then we create a new transcoder from this package, using the environment variable that we passed in before, the Elastic Transcoder region, to set it up. Next, it's going to call a function called handler that we looked at before. So this is the function it's going to call, and it receives 3 parameters: an event, a context, and a callback. Now the first thing that we do is we actually print out the event that comes through. Next, we want to get the pipeline ID, so we actually get that from the environment variable that we passed in, the pipeline transcoder pipeline ID. Next, we want to get the S3 key, or the file name that was passed through from the trigger that we created. We process the name a little bit. We actually just remove all the spaces and change them with pluses. And then we actually remove the file extension as well. Next, we create the parameters for the function that we're going to call. So we're going to be calling, if we scroll down a little bit more, the create job function for the Elastic Transcoder to create a job. And that requires some parameters. That's what we do here. We're actually setting the parameters for the job that we want to create. So we pass through the pipeline ID, saying which pipeline we're going to use. Next, we specify the output key prefix by using the output file name from the process file name that we took in. Then we specify where's the input, so where's the file that we're trying to transcode. And that's what the key here is from input, and it's using the source key variable, which was named up here. Finally, we need to specify what outputs do we want to change, do we want to transcode this file into. And we're transcoding it into 3 formats. We have a 1080p version, a 720p version, and a web-friendly 7p version. Now these are the actual file names that it's going to create. And anytime you see key in reference to S3, it's talking about a file name or the full path for a file name. So we're generating the output key plus the encoding plus the file name extension. Next, we're specifying what preset ID we want to use, and these are actually built into the Elastic Transcoder. So we can see we want it to be generic 1080p, generic 720, and web-friendly 720p. You want to look at the reference for this function, you can actually click on this link here. Once we've got our parameters set, we actually call the function to create the job. So we're not going to leave the Lambda function running the whole time while the Elastic Transcoder is running through the pipeline, because that could take a couple hours if it's a massive file or if it's trying to transcode into multiple formats. All we care about is that the job has been created. So what the Lambda function is going to do is it's going to create a job, and we're actually using a promise-based system here. If it's created the job successfully, it's going to go into this then block here. And we're just going to post the callback data. Then we're going to finalize the function by calling the callback with the data that we received. If we get an error, it's going to come into this catch block here, and we're going to print out the error as well as pass back the error in the callback function. And that's all there is to this code. We basically take an input file path, create an output name, then create a job and tell it what outputs we want.